last, bringing home the final presentation of the series. Um, Now, I titled my presentation Trade, Trust and Green Growth. I sort of wanted to tie everything together. Kat's taken us on a bit of a cultural journey, and Harriet's taken us on a journey of how our assumptions have been challenged. Hugh's given us a northern lens over everything, and Sam's given us the politics and the numbers. Sonia's showed us the scientific insight. But what about the emotional intelligence behind the industry intelligence? That's sort of where I want to take you with this. Like I want to connect the dots and sort of get between the spaces of the facts and the frameworks so that we can share, like the lived in experience behind the data. My presentation is much more subjective in nature to everyone else's, and I really just want to share some reflections on what I saw and how the different countries are approaching those three big ideas of shaping the future of red meat, trade, trust, and green growth. I think every country brought something different to the table, and yeah, we'll explore that. Okay. So I wanted to give everyone a quick overview for those that are online and may not have been familiar with the layout of the tour, maybe in the past and now. I won't go into too much detail with it, but I wanted to outline the 5 key points of what our goal was with the tour. And we shared this with MLA and Austrade at their event in Jakarta, where I was lucky enough to be able to share to the room what ICMJ is and the opportunities that the program provides to anyone that's ever been a part of it. I'll let the video play. But from this, I wanted to show everyone how far we travelled and how much we spent, so that everyone can sort of understand how difficult it is for every single one of us to put into 15 minutes everything that we probably wanted to into our presentations. Okay, so let's get into it. I identified the 3 key themes that struck a chord and resonated with me, and hence where my presentation title came from. And I want to outline what those 3 themes sort of encompass for me. So trade is understanding and adapting to our diverse market needs. Trust is building and maintaining that confidence with our consumers across the different cultures and systems that we see. And then green growth it's basically just sustainability, but embracing that as a component of our value proposition in market. So each country that we visited highlights all of these 3 themes uniquely and offers us all valuable lessons. So let's start with trade. For me, Indonesia really stood out for this core trade topic, and Sam and Sonia have both highlighted really well the data behind why Indonesia is one of our largest export markets for live cattle. And you can really see that when you visit the country. It's there are so many people. But what struck out was how important relationships are to that trade, and how rapidly everything is shifting. Just as Sam has said, and there's a growing demand for boxed beef, more of a focus on that cold chain infrastructure, and they're asking more questions around quality and consistency of their product. So for me, this integration underpins the importance of aligning our exports with the operational models of our trading partners. So trading it's not just about shipping beef or shipping live cattle. It's about shaping our value proposition to suit the market that we're aiming for. And in Indonesia, we saw this play out clearly as our Aussie beef enters a really price sensitive yet growing market, and the success of companies like Santori show what happens when we don't just export, we integrate with their market. So they're localizing our beef, they're taking our live cattle, feeding, finishing them on site, processing them locally, and tailoring their products to their own retail and food service needs, just like Sonia mentioned the Buxo balls, the bouncy meatballs. It made me realize that exporting cattle is just the start, really. And when we can make our product fit, not just logistically, but culturally and economically, then that's where we really succeed. So in Singapore, trade is it lives in that premium space of the market, whether it's fine dining or high end retail. They expect marbling, food safety, and a really recognizable brand. Japan is similar. They value high eating quality and respond really strongly to that MSA grading story. And we're not alone in that space. US beef and domestic wagyu are really strong competitors to our product in that market, especially in brand presence and presentation in store. So what stood out in both of those two countries was that they really reward consistency, and they're really loyal to us when we deliver it too. So for trust, when it comes to trust, I think Japan really sets the gold standard for like that system-driven confidence. There's a deep respect there from Japan for our systems, whether it's our traceability, our grading, our production protocols. We're not just trusted because our beef really tastes really good. We're trusted because our process is really consistent and it's transparent throughout the supply chain. And we've had that long-standing trading relationship with Japan. It's completely underpinned by reliability. They know what to expect from us, and they really expect a lot from us, down to the detail on the labels, the marbling scores, the packaging. Everything matters to them. And it reinforced for me that our systems don't just help us at home, that they completely underpin our reputation offshore. In Singapore, I think that trust is a blend of brand credibility and consumer education. So we saw retailers and chefs place a high value on that Australian clean green image, and the credibility that comes along with our certifications and our QA systems. But what I found really interesting is that trust is also built through education. So when we visited level 33, it was clear how powerful it is when we explained the why behind our processes. And when consumers can understand how the Australian systems work, from an animal welfare and eating quality perspective, that's when they really buy into our product. It's I like to say, like, storytelling isn't just fluff. It's a tool that we use, and I'm definitely working on being a better storyteller, especially when we back it with science and consistency. So Sonia really set the scene with her story of Ahmed, and she highlighted trust, because in Indonesia, trust doesn't come from a manual. It comes from the people that you deal with. Compared to Japan and Singapore, Indonesia's trust is much more informal. It's built person to person, and Sam would be familiar with this with his work through AAM. Systems still matter, but they're not the first thing that earns you a seat at the table, or a seat on a crate in the kill floor at midnight. Those relationships carry a lot of weight for them, and their cultural fluency, respect, and repeated engagement, it goes a long way with them. Australian beef is known for its quality, but that's really just the entry point for us, and building that trust takes a lot of time and effort. Being technically sound isn't just enough. It's, in some markets, success really depends on your ability to connect and listen and earn that respect from them over time. So everywhere we went, we saw the Aussie brand everywhere. We saw the flags, we saw the labels, the name, everything. Um, and that visibility comes with a lot of responsibility for us. So when people see product of Australia, they really expect it to deliver. And it's not just about a branding moment, it's like that's a trade insight for us. We've earned our place. Now we really have to continue to work hard to protect that every day. And Sonia had an explanation about, this consumer psychology around the eating experience that they'll have, and the integrity of our product is so relevant here. We always want our product to perform, especially when our name's all over it. Okay, so green growth, controversial topic. I really regretted putting it into my title because I ended up not really wanting to talk about it. But I think that I've actually probably talked about it more than um, any of the other two sort of pillars that I've based my presentation around. And when we talk about green growth, for me, I'm talking about sustainability credentials, and no one is driving that harder than Singapore. Limited land, no livestock, yet they're investing in food technology, circular systems, carbon conscious sourcing of products. Their customers are asking how they're wanting to meet their protein demand and reduce their impact at the same time. Japan has that cultural sustainability lens, but it's a bit contradictory, where environmental consciousness is embedded into their everyday life, as simple as taking your rubbish home. Um, Everything you see is wrapped in plastic. So there's so much more rubbish for you to constantly carry around with you. Um, Indonesia, sustainability, it's clear it's on the radar, but they're battling with bigger issues, like their waste management and urban sprawl. It's a really complex picture to try and paint, and it shows how localized sustainability really is. It's not a one solution fixes all. And as someone who now works in the sustainability tech space here at home, I feel like it's a little bit of a mirror moment. We talk about ESGs a lot in Australia, and in Singapore, they're turning that into a purchasing behavior. So it reinforced something for me that I already believe, that green growth or sustainability isn't just about ticking boxes. We need that so that we can maintain market access into our premium markets, just like that. So I've got two photos here that I took on the tour. The left one's in Indonesia and the right one's in Japan. And I think that this slide shows two pretty different takes on what sustainability can look like across Asia. In that, on the left we've got Indonesia, where the conversation around green growth and sustainability is definitely happening, but the reality on the ground tells a different story. Things like plastic pollution and unmanaged waste are still a really big issue for them. And it's not that there isn't awareness around sustainability, but the systems and infrastructure to be able to support sustainable practices are still catching up. For a lot of communities, that economic survival, just like Ahmed's story, it comes first. And it makes that long-term sustainability a harder sell in those markets. And then on the right, we've got a nice picture in Japan. I love this photo because it really captures the balance that they've struck. You've got this beautiful traditional building right in front of this sleek modern skyscraper. I think that perfectly encompasses how I see, or how I saw Japan while we were there. Sustainability in Japan, it like I said, it feels more ingrained. It's a cultural thing, from separating their rubbish into their 5 different categories, to designing buildings that are energy efficient and earthquake proof. Sometimes it can be very intentional, but they've managed to blend innovation with their heritage in a way that really works. And while both countries are really talking about sustainability, they're doing it from very different places. And if we want to work across borders, whether it's in trade, research, and development, we really need to understand and respect those differences. So, across these three countries, Indo, Japan, Singapore, you start to see the full spectrum of what sustainability is across Asia. We're seeing that three really different versions of sustainability, and understanding those differences is key to if we want to keep building meaningful partnerships. So when we zoom out and look at things a little bit, it's clear that while everyone's heading in the same direction towards better trade, deeper trust, and more sustainable systems, they're all coming at that from very different angles. Um, for us in Australia, it means tailoring our approach. What works in Tokyo is not going to work in Jakarta, and changing our perspective might be the key to unlocking those future partnerships there. It's definitely not a one size fits all future. And I think that's what makes it so exciting and challenging. So before I close, I just wanted to say a massive thank you. The tour was way more than just a professional highlight. It wouldn't have happened without the support of MLA, AMPC, and ICMJ. And Kieran, so thank you very much for investing in us, and everything we learned will shape how we show up for the industry from here on out.